Welcome to a reading for Aquarius. I hope you're all doing really well. Let's get into it. On the initial shuffle, I got Jupiter in the 5th house come out for you. So your confidence, courage, self-belief and luck is really being tested at the moment. Particularly to do with fun, romance, creative things you're proud of. It could have harked back something to May, had something to do with it. It could have been dealing with a Cancer, a Gemini or a Scorpio at this time as well. If you're feeling like you haven't got control of a situation, time sitting outside in the sun. I know that sounds, a bit defeatist in some way, like you need to mentally figure this out, but you've been asked to actually pause and take time where you don't actually spend all your energy up in your head at the moment. Because whatever you're thinking, it's particularly with Jupiter in your energy at the moment, it's really going to make things seem bigger and a little bit more unachievable. You're not going to feel like you're going to be able to rein in the feelings that you have at the moment. So just be really aware of that. You could be hypersensitive to the way other people are treating you at the moment too. So be very gentle with yourself at this time. You're coming up with some amazing ideas on how to move yourself forward into a really big, a brighter future here. So if you're going to focus on anything at that time, now's the time to focus on that. You could be even really interested in cryptocurrency or alternative ways of earning money that's not necessarily the old ways or the status quo, even though cryptocurrency is moving into more of the mainstream. And you could also be, I don't know, you could say kicking yourself for not taking it up earlier, but the timing's perfect. And your guides have told me to tell you that that's exactly what you need to hear now. Your timing is perfect. So if you didn't take up an opportunity in the not so distant past, say in May, you've had a few weeks now to really think about it. Just remember to really rest your adrenals. Good sleep, less caffeine, time in the sun, really important for you at the moment. This is a very emotional time for most people anyway. Cancer season can really come back to the energy of home, hearth, where we come from, what is security and home to us. So you could feel that without a certain amount of stability in your life, without a certain type of housing, a certain type of car, a certain type of relationship, or a certain amount of money in your bank account, it puts you off kilter. Just remember the way you feel manifests in the outside, and also check in when people ask you how you really truly feel about yourself, your scenario, your situation at the moment, and listen to the answer you give, because that's a really good indication of your subconscious. But you really just want to go have some fun as well. And if you're in the northern hemisphere, you just want to have some fun while the sun's shining in summer. Festivals are here, that type of thing, with Glastonbury all over social media. You might be wishing that you'd had a chance to go, Gratitude, appreciate all that is within and around you, absolutely. So being thankful very much for what you do have at the moment. Your health, your ability to pay bills or food in your belly, the loving relationships in your life. If you feel like any or all of those things are lacking, the air in your lungs, the sun on your skin, pull it right back to things to be really grateful for. And forgive is really important at this time. Forgiving of yourself first and foremost for not being, doing, and there's something catching my eye outside. So as soon as you start to focus on yourself, there could be something that draws your attention away from that. You know, oh, look at the shiny thing over here, and you come back a few hours later, a few days, a few weeks later, and you finally get back to actually focusing again on yourself, and there could be something that draws you away again. Forgiveness will free your heart. And you could feel that stability in this world is very fleeting. I've got somebody looking at power lines out the front of my house. So that, in a big fluorescent jacket, which really catches my attention here. It's like, oh, look at this, there's someone of importance wandering around. I also hear this is a really good time for checking the phone line. So communication. Are you having trouble communicating with your peers, your family, your work colleagues at this time? But let's get into it, beautiful Aquarius. They're not hearing you right, I hear. Don't try and convince them of your ideas and thoughts. Start acting on them and lead by example. Do all things in moderation and ask with sincerity. So where can you pare things back? Too much in your head? Even though you're very cerebral sign, you're an air sign, you like to think things through, can leave you not feeling like you're centered in this earth and easily distracted, as I am during this reading. There is an animal around you or animals. Watch the way they behave when you're in certain energies, if you can hook into that. Watch how they behave around certain people, I also hear, is really important at this time. But you're finding so much truth within at the moment. You're finding your roots, I hear. Your stability, your groundedness is trying to take root. And with that, you'll be able to flourish like a big oak tree. There's a mother figure here that's trying to come through, and she's trying to calm the situation, but you could not have had that stability when you were younger from this individual, if they're in spirit or ancestral wounds to do with mothering, mothers, that sort of thing. Focus on the present as it's here that change occurs, exactly right here, right now. In Cancer season, it is very easy to go back over mother wounds, how we were raised, whether the mother was present or not. But now's the time to mother yourself in all ways. Go back in your mind or during meditation to yourself when you're a younger person and be the mother or that protective energy to yourself when you were younger. Envision yourself holding yourself as a younger person. Be there for that younger person is really going to help at the moment. So you might be drawn to all sorts of different types of meditation. You really may just want to be by yourself, sitting quietly back against the tree in the sun. If you do actually get a chance to do that, you're going to get so much enlightenment. It's going to make such a difference to you. I hear take yourself on a picnic instead of eating food inside, if you can. Sit down on the ground and just enjoy the food. And during that time, it'll calm your nervous system, but it'll also bring in so much clarity for you along the lines of what you're going to create in the world and what kind of relationships you want and what you want to see. Stability particularly, Because you could be freaking out about housing, I hear. Whether I'll be able to pay the bills is another one that's popping up. But I think you're really starting to see that you've ended up in a pretty uncomfortable situation here. You may have done it to yourself, or you may have just found yourself in this really uncomfortable situation, unable to take a step forward. But in this position, you might be feeling really giddy as well. Dizziness might be an issue for you at the moment. So it's actually ended up making you sit or lie down a lot more. If that's your case, vertigo, I hear, could be an issue for somebody out there. But you're starting to see things from an extremely different perspective here. Sometimes we have to be turned on our head, whether we do it ourselves or the universe does it for us to see things from a completely different perspective. And sorry to laugh, all I can see is, I don't know if you did this, but when I was a kid, I used to turn myself upside down and hang my head over the back of the couch, my feet up on the back of where you normally rest your body, and legs up there and head down towards the ground, and pretend I could walk. The house was upside down and I was walking on the ceiling. You might come back to those sorts of times where it's sort of like Alice in Wonderland, turning everything on its head. So there could be a bit of escapism wanting to come out at the moment too. Be aware of that. But in those periods of daydreaming or reading really interesting out there novels, or watching sci-fi, or just some really interesting out of the box type of visuals or stories or thinking, is going to be the way forward for you. And that's your happy place anyway. All those sort of out of the box, cutting edge, on the edge of the new, very scientific, very sci-fi. That's what is going to be your help, your savior, I hear at the moment, actually. He's actually seeing things completely different. Because the way things have gone, the time is done. You can sort of see this hourglass, the sand is actually right down the bottom here, and this person is deciding to move on from this period of time. So it can be quite confronting to move from what you've known for a very long period of time. This is the way the life is. This was turned around at one stage and all the sand has now fallen to the bottom. To restart, it needs to be turned on its head. So you might be deciding to not necessarily turn it on its head, but to walk away and find a different hourglass altogether. And or you realise that each moment is precious, and you're very much in the present moment, realising that for everyone there is time under the sun, I hear. Well, this is your time. This is your time to create. So it doesn't matter what's happened in the past with people that might have raised you, or the scenarios and that sort of thing. This is your time to create, I hear. We all have our time. You might be thinking that time is running out as well to create your major work in the world. But interestingly enough, I just got through that most people don't really create their major creative astounding work until after retirement, where we have time to actually sit and paint or draw or write or philosophize. Is that the word? Is that the way it's said? Philosophy, poetry, dance, drama. Because I think the ways that people have recognised you up until this point have been a certain way. This is what I do. Therefore that's what I am. But you're changing the script. And you could also be at a period where you're employing younger people to do jobs for you instead of you having to physically do all the hard work as well. And you might be seeing a disparity in the work ethic that might be upsetting you in some way as well. When you started out at work, or when you were at work, you're expected to, have a certain work ethic. And you might be trying to employ somebody here, or somebody to fix something for you, or present an idea in the physical world and have someone else create it, and it may not be going exactly to plan. There's a lot of having to talk about and reworking the situation, I hear. So you've decided to walk away. Lots of cards here of walking away. Walking away from what was. It's taught you so much. And in this card here, all the cups are upright. So you're keeping the knowledge and the emotions that each of these lessons have taught you here, and deciding to turn your back into the unknown. It's a time of great excitement, actually. It could be seen as quite a time of adventure, because you do love freedom. Change is as good as a holiday, I hear. And you're not afraid to say it as it is at the moment. But it's also really important to cut out the things that you know deep down inside are no good for you right now. And so it might take a period of really good, deep reflection here to realise that I tried to do something a certain way to make money or whatever. I've learnt so much from that, but it might be time to cut that out and try something completely different. Whatever that completely different is to you. Let's get some more advice here. Everything I do is a choice, so I am in control of my reality. Absolutely. The thoughts I choose to believe right now are forming my experiences. I now listen to what I say, and do not say anything that I do not want to become true for me. Yes, as I said at the beginning of the reading here, people might be coming up and asking you certain questions about your stability, your home life, your career, your finances, or they're expressing their situations. Listen to your reaction, whatever you say to yourself in your mind or out loud about your scenario. Whether you actually come back with, oh yeah, life is tough, and oh yeah, it's hard to pay the bills, and oh yeah, relationships break up at this time, or all the kids these days do, whatever. It could be anything that comes out. And you could actually hear yourself say things that your parents or grandparents or people around you when you were younger used to say. And you'll catch these different things that are said, either internally and externally, and that's going to give you the information that you need to change everything in your life. You'll start to see everything so completely different, and decide to move away from all the stuff, all the baggage that you've picked up over the years. It's very easy to pick up a lot of baggage over the years, particularly if you've lived in one place, one area, one house, you've only had, if you've lived in one house for 20 years, it can end up very easily that house ends up cluttered with a lot of stuff that you may not necessarily need, want, or use anymore. It's only through constant movement, a lot of the time, that if you have to pack it all up into boxes and move, that you find that there's so much stuff you don't necessarily even need. And people are travelling a lot lighter these days. There's actually become, just as a sideline, a bit of a thing where in the not so distant past, everybody would take everything from their homes when they left, sold, rented, whatever. A lot of people are, because the furniture is just so cheap these days and whatever, are leaving the whole house full of furniture, cups, plates, cutlery, not taking anything and moving into the next space or the next phase of life completely anew. And see, things hold energy. It could be a cup that somebody else used to use. It could be a piece of art that evokes a certain emotion. It could be old clothing that you used to wear back in the day, and it could be anything. You know, an old neighbourhood, that type of thing. That can take you back to where you once were. But now you're starting to see that, whatever that is, in completely different perspective here. Massive changes for you, particularly when it comes to home, hearth, relationships, what's family, and any mother wounds that might be popping up. You could be seeing a series of failed relationships of yourself or others, and tying it back to how you related to your mother or mother figures in your life. Whoops, that one just flew out. And what they imparted on you. Could have been dealing with a Taurus, that's for sure. But also back in May, you could have actually had someone tell you, oh no, well, this is the way it's done, you know, maybe an older figure, or you could have said something out aloud that made you yourself realize that you're coming from a certain mindset. But you're deciding now to heal yourself, to heal the scenario, to heal your mind, body, and spirit, that you need to amalgamate the light side, the happy side, the side you show, you know, the best side of yourself, you know, the best angle, best photo, whatever it is. And the darker side, the side that doesn't feel like getting up out of bed, that has these negative thoughts, that has the spiral, you know, seeing things on the dark side. It's like the angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other. To balance that out in between. You can't listen to one all the time and not have the other one muck up, and vice versa. And realize that we're all equally got shadow as well as light, and to integrate both of those things to become a lot more whole, wiser, and to also heal your mind, body, and spirit. So the trilogy as well was really important. Check in with yourself, which is not in alignment. Is it your mind? Is it your heart? Is it your body? Is it spirit? Do you spend time in meditation, communing with spirit? You could be watching a lot of YouTube videos on tarot and spirit. How's your mind going? How's your heart going? How's your physical body going? Are you exercising it? Are you getting out in the sun? All these things, it's going to make such a big difference. Because we have been trained to sort of try and figure it out mentally all the time, and can just leave you feeling really scattered and end up with stomach upsets and rashes and all sorts of weird stuff. You know, hair falling out, I hear, you know. Excess drinking, beware of it. Be very aware of it. But you could be looking back into times where you feel times were happier. You just want things to be happier. When's the good going to start again, I hear? What's coming through is when you calm yourself to a point where you can see the good in everything. Because your heart's been smashed that many different ways in the past. So you could be really not wanting to change and have to go through all this, whatever this is, again, because there's only so much you can take. Well, first and foremost, care for your own heart. And not so much care for everybody else. Make sure everybody else's cup is full before your own. It's really important at the moment. To protect yourself from anybody that might try and use you as well, take from you. If you don't know yourself well, you could look for what you're missing out in yourself, outside of yourself, and that leaves yourself open to vulnerability of other people. So seeing that, you know, oh, this person's lonely, you know, vulnerable. So you're becoming more and more aware of that. And you're also becoming more and more aware of when you do care for your body, particularly your muscles, your strength, and do things you really enjoy, is when things start to go really well for you. The strength it would take for this person here to put themselves in this position. It's pretty incredible. So Aquarius, it's really important at this time, a great transition, to focus on the present, as that is where the change occurs, right here, right now. That's why the present is called a gift, the gift. I'll just get one more card out for you, beautiful Aquarius. The winds of change are blowing out there. Positive movement forward, and with the winds of change, you're getting wind in your sails, and it's time to head off into a brand new day. Take the time of solitude. This person's by themselves in the boat as well. Once the wind gets in the sails again, remember to take time to rest, relax, and meditate. Read a book instead of a device. It's a really good thing to do. And you can sort of see she's got her back against a pillar here. That pillar behind her there, and rocks, that mountain sort of thing behind her. It gives you really good stability to sit down on the ground, to give yourself a chance to rise back up again into a state of freedom and love for yourself. And this woman's all in her glory, with her body in the ground, literally, and her head in the clouds. So if any sign, you're the sign that can show us the way here to actually balance the body, mind, and spirit at the moment. Be very gentle with yourself in this period of Cancer here. Cancer season, should I say, because it can take us right down into the depths of our foundations and make us truly look at where we've come from, who we are, and where we want to go from here. But it looks like you're getting a full grasp. So I'd just like to say thank you so much. I've got readings available. Check out the description if you're at all interested. And I'd just like to say thank you so much, Aquarius. I love you all. And bye for now.